A double murderer who stabbed his great-uncle 77 times during what he claimed was a bungled attempt to steal his dog has been told he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Dyrese Roche attacked his grandmother's brother, 64-year-old Fintan McDwyer, after climbing through his bedroom window in the Fallowfield area of South Manchester in the early hours of 30th of June 2024. Mr. McDwyer's son found his father's body in a pool of blood the following day. Roche, from Berkeley Avenue in Longsight, was handed a whole-life prison term at Manchester Crown Court after being convicted of murder in May. The 30-year-old had only been released on licence for a matter of months before the attack, after serving 12 years in prison for the murder of Adam Steele in 2011 when Roche was 16 years old. The court heard that on the day of his death, Mr. McDwyer had been home alone as his son and his son's girlfriend were away at a wedding. Greater Manchester Police said after searching the address, detectives found audio of the struggle had been caught on a CCTV camera Mr. McDwyer had set up in his living room to keep an eye on Sammy, his Staffordshire Bull Terrier cross. A further CCTV footage outside the property caught a man wearing a balaclava climbing over fences to escape. Forensic experts then found a trace of blood on one of the fences on a small torch, from which they obtained DNA profiles matching Roche. When Roche was arrested, he admitted killing Mr. McDwyer, but claimed he acted in self-defence and did not mean to seriously hurt him. He told officers he entered Mr. McDwyer's house only with the intention of stealing the dog. Detective Inspector Lee Shaw, who led the investigation, said the attack was nothing short of horrific, and Fintan's loved ones have had to suffer the horrendous consequences. They have shown incredible strength during this trial. In a statement last year, Mr. McDwyer's family described him as a true gentleman. Their tribute went on, "There isn't anyone who would say a bad word about Fintan, and it breaks our heart that he has been denied years to be with our sons and grandchildren." In 2011, Roche and his older brother, 22-year-old Owen Roche, had turned up at a New Year's Eve house party in Earlham's Hoe, The Heights, Salford, looking for Owen's girlfriend. Police said an argument had broke out at the flat before Dyrese pulled a knife from his waistband and stabbed 23-year-old care worker Mr. Steele. Dyrese was jailed for life with a minimum term of 12 years, while Owen was convicted of manslaughter and handed an indeterminate prison sentence with a minimum term of 4 years. Here's some more news from Stoke and Staffordshire Ways. A man has been jailed for murdering an Iraq War veteran who he punched 3 times in a drink and drug-fueled street attack. Gregory Twigg, 32, attacked Lee Woodward, 39, in Stoke-on-Trent on June the 24th, 2022, leaving him with brain damage, which he died 10 months later. Mr. Woodward's fiancée, Kate Griffin, who was also assaulted by Twigg, said, "I miss my boy every single day. I mourn for what life should have been." Twigg, who was on licence from jail at the time, was handed a life sentence at Stafford Crown Court, with a minimum tariff of 14 years, reduced to 11 years after the time he had already served in prison. The court heard Twigg was a passenger in a Vauxhall Astra being driven by his friend Nathan Lockley on their way to a night out in Newcastle-under-Lyme with some female passengers. Mr. Woodward was leaving the Liquor Vaults pub, having had a drink with his fiancée, and walked past the car being driven by Mr. Lockley on Hill Street. Judge Roger Thomas KC said it seemed Mr. Woodward had taken some expectation to the driving of that car, which then pulled into a side street and led to a confrontation between him and Mr. Lockley, addressing Twigg, who admitted he had taken cocaine and drunk vodka and sambuca. That night, Judge Thomas said there was no indication violence would follow between them. You got out of that car, and while Woodward's focus was on Lockley, you hit him with a very heavy punch he didn't see coming, which knocked him to the floor. The judge said Mr. Woodward had struggled to get back to his feet and needed help from his fiancée. He was unsteady on his feet and in no position to defend himself, but you approached him again and landed another heavy punch on him, which pushed him back into a parked car, Judge Thomas said. Twigg then punched Mr. Woodward again with a blow to the head, which knocked him unconscious. As he fell to the ground, he would never wake up and died in hospital 10 months later. Twigg initially pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm against Mr. Woodward, but after his death, Twigg pleaded not guilty to his murder, but was convicted by a jury after a trial in July. Judge Thomas told Twigg, stringing the case out, "As you have done, you have extended and amplified the understandable anguish Lee Woodward's loved ones have experienced." The court also heard Twigg has a series of previous convictions, including battery, criminal damage, threats to kill, and burglary. Twigg's defense team said he had since been assessed as having limited cognitive ability, and that there had been instances where he had resorted to outbursts because of his difficulty in understanding a certain situation or trying to conceal his own limited functioning. However, they said this was not Mr. Twigg trying to say this was in any way excuses his behaviour. The court heard 3 victim impact statements from Miss Griffin and her 2 adult daughters, who spoke of their 10-month anguish while Mr. Woodward was in hospital, followed by their grief over finally losing him. "The deterioration we saw was absolutely horrific," Miss Griffin said. She said her and her family's lives have been ripped apart in a way few people will ever comprehend. "This was always me and him against the world," she said. "Times moved on, but we are now not the same family. We are destroyed just going through the motions. I miss my boy every single day." Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.